Hi, the Lie Guy again, Stan Walters. Back to talk to you about some more signs of truth and deception, valuable information for professional interviewers, interrogators, and just on a personal level, how to tell accurately when somebody is being truthful or deceptive with you. Now, I'm just curious, have you seen something like this in a training session, or perhaps even on the internet? Little drawings with little faces and little eyes and eye movements. And in that training or in those internet sessions, have you been told that if you watch the way the person's move their eyes, you can tell if they are visually oriented or if the answer is related to auditory input or feelings and emotions and so forth? It's based on the neuro-linguistic programming model. Great tool for communication skills and for therapy skills. It was never designed to be a diagnostic tool. Part of the principles that someone has taken and has altered, they try to tell you that if you ask a person a question, you look to the left, that they're involved in recall. If you look to their right, they're involved in construct mental behavior. The theory being then, if you ask a question and he looks to the right, then he is constructing behavior, lies are constructed. Therefore, if anybody looks to their right, then they're constructing and they may be lying. Well, nothing can be further from the truth. The facts are, two myths that we're going to discuss. Can deception be determined by watching the direction a person breaks eye contact with you or the direction they move their eyes? This has been around now in law enforcement and in some training for about 12 to 14 years now. And I've been tracking it for quite some time, and I was dismayed when I began to do research on it to find that there was no correlation here. And I tried to track down several sources that would maybe support this interesting theory about eye movement. And so if you've been told you can tell if somebody's being honest by watching if a person moves his eyes to the right or left and the answer to the question, well, from the research we discovered, guess what? It's all fiction. Yep, that's right, it's fiction. Not a bit of supporting evidence to it, and if you've been taught to this by some type of instructor or in some type of interrogation training class or heard in a popular context that this is a way to spot deception, they're wrong. And I bet you even remember seeing this on the movie The Negotiator with Samuel L. Jackson. In that intense scene where he's involved with the subject and he's got people held hostage. He's asking if he knows anything about where the money's being hidden or who's involved in the payoffs of union dues and union fees. And he said, oh, we know that if you look to the left, you're truthful, look right, you're lying. Sorry, that's a myth. It's even featured on one episode of CSI, the Las Vegas series, when they're talking about a pedophile. And did he blink too much, and which direction did he move his eyes? Well, I don't know who these technical advisors are, but unfortunately they're poorly informed and are perpetuating some information that's not scientifically based. Well, let me tell you what I've found through extensive research trying to track down this information, see if there's any scientific substance to it. Well, first of all, the best place to go, the Neuro-Linguistic Programming Society, which is a professional society of NLP certified therapists. These folks have to go, some of them, up to 6 years of training to be certified as a therapist or to use the NLP model in their therapy sessions. At the time, I happened to track down the past president of the NLP Society, past president now, Dr. John Laval, and I asked him about law enforcement use of NLP, in particular eye movement, as a tool to determine if someone is telling the truth or someone is being deceptive. And as an expert in this field, his response was, there is no correlation. This is the official position of the NLP Society. There is no correlation between eye movement, right or left, when a person is being truthful or deceptive. Now, don't tell me, well, it works for me. Yeah, about 50% of the time. But you know, if you sacrifice enough virgins, you can get it to rain tomorrow also. And so I don't care if you've found a baseline, what he normally looks left and suddenly looks right. There's still no diagnosis. There is no correlation with eye movement deception. I don't care how much you insist. There's no scientific support for it. In fact, look at this scientific journal article. It's from the Journal of Police and Criminal Psychology. And the research was the Neuro-Linguistic Programming Model and the Police, Worthwhile or Not, by Aldrich Reed, one of the top researchers right now in the field of interview and interrogation and deception techniques. Dr. Breach in this study reviewed 60, that's right, 60 scientific studies testing various parts of the NLP model. They're used as a tool, incorrect I might add, to determine if a person is being truthful or deceptive. None of those 60 studies found there was a correlation. And look at the conclusions here that Dr. Vreach came to in this 1998 article. Quote, detecting lies on the basis of eye movement is reprehensible. No correlation at all. It's a huge myth. Also talked to a master trainer, Stuber Robinson. Look at this guy's degrees, MIT and Harvard. In fact, his research at Harvard was looking at the model of watching eye movement. Is it correlated to construct behavior or recall behavior? In my conversation with him, talking at length, it's some of the course materials I've found being taught in many academies, and a lot of our media and even some of our training materials, that eye movement is a sign of deception. First of all, his comment was that someone has been rehearsing a lie, there's no noticeable change in eye behavior. Think about it. If your suspect or someone, a family member or someone, has rehearsed their lie many, many times, and if you tell the story, if left is recall and right is construct, which direction will his eyes move when he tells that story? Well, wait a minute, yeah, I know it's a lie, but he's recalling it. It's memorized, so shouldn't his eye movement go to the left? But it's a lie. But I thought all lies, the eye contact moved to the right. We've already just simply disproved this entire theory. And what he found also in research that a constructed IQ, meaning a creative IQ, might still happen when somebody's remembering events, because we collate known data, collate experiences, and try to put it in a form that the listener might understand. And often you hear people quote, well, Bandler and Grinder, Dr. John Bandler and Dr. Grinder, Richard Bandler and Dr. John Grinder are the ones that came up with this. That's what they said. You can spot deception. Well, if you read their texts, nowhere do they make that analysis. And quoting from their text, quoting from them, many people reconstruct their memories. In other words, they will show a right eye movement when in fact they're going to recall. And so his conclusion, Stuber Robinson is a master trainer. In his research at Harvard University, we looked at the correlation of eye movement and deception, a correlation of eye movement and recall and construct. He found no consistent correlation, that it's very random. And his conclusion that people are being taught NLP are being given incorrect information. I'm surprised how many times that at academies I've seen this, and a person teaching it themselves had no formal training, no certification in the NLP theory, and not are certified as NLP therapists. So if this is information you've been taught, or you've been told you got to watch eye movement, it's time to take a little reality check and go back and look at the social psychology, look at the data. There's not any link between eye movement and deception. Join us if you can on the website www.thelieguy.com, and you'll find plenty of our articles and research and video work about some of the real social psychology and the scientific study of interview and interrogation. You might also want to pick up our text, one on the truth about lying, which is a great text about everyday life and watching family members and social settings and the people in the public eye when they're being truthful or not, and help foster better communication. Or if you're a professional investigator, investigative interviewing in the corporate setting or in intelligence world or in law enforcement or fire service, corrections, then the main text of Principles of Kinetic Interview and Interrogation might be the text for you. Think about it. What are the myths? Why do we miss deception? Because 50% of the time we're looking for the wrong cues and we're following the myths. Thanks for joining me. I'm Stan Walters, the Lie Guy.